remember how every time, I mean, like when we pull up some of the shows, there'll be moments when I see a thumbnail, like, because I don't pre-watch these videos, I just respond to them naturally. And I'll see a thumbnail or a moment, and it just makes me crack up. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of them. Like, some of them, like, we've had a couple of them with, like, Mark Levin. He's had some pretty hilarious ones. Rudy, when they try to up their game. Don Jr.'s really fucking horrible at it. Thanks for the guy. It was a great reset. I appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Don't forget to give a thumbs up. Support the show. And if you hate the show, thank you for being here and thank you for typing stuff. Because the more you write, the more the algorithm thinks, man, this guy's engaging. Even people who hate him write stuff. They'll surely stick around for the commercials. And that raises my CPM, especially on Facebook, where the lunatics are. So thank you, and hello, and there you go. And so anyways, sometimes I'm clicking around these things, the thumbnail is so hilarious, it just on its own is enough to watch it. And then sometimes it will be the first frame of a video. Just hits you just right. You know what I mean? And in this particular case, Glenn Beck is interviewing Trump. He's doing this whole like 47-minute video about it, one of his special reports. And he doesn't start the interview until way in. Thanks, Evo. And in this particular situation, like I just kind of pushed it forward until I saw frames of him sitting with Trump, and then I just back it up. But I don't listen, I don't watch it. I just want to, just using the visual cue of it. And this is what it landed on. And, okay. We deal with Steve Bannon's bullshit, Navy talk and his stupid, like pictures behind him, his two Jesus pictures and his Steve Bannon phrase on his fucking empty fireplace mantelpiece in the living room where they do the show in his house in DC or whatever the fuck. And every time we turn around, Glenn Beck has a different set and a different look. This dude cannot decide. I swear to God, he changes outfits more often than Cher in her Vegas show. It's hilarious. And then this situation, this like, you're out. Like whatever. I'm sure it's a big moment from a boxing match. I don't know it in particular. It looks like a painting that he had commissioned, but it also looks like it looks like the referee is teabagging the loser. It's a terrible. It looks like he's down. I've always been attracted to him. I think I'll rest my nuts on his shoulder. Or like, watch a human being squat out another human being. You'll believe. Oh, he'll be here. Don't worry, guys. Yeah, it's wrestling. More than boxing, it's wrestling. I can't see gloves on the dude, and they don't show the other guy's arms. So it could just be a wrestling match, in which case that says more about Glenn Beck's taste in reality than anybody else. Yeah, he's in a Mennonite. This is Mennonite preacher Glenn Beck and all of his Fisher-Price outfits. This is this is his disguise when he's the red herring in a Criminal Minds episode where you're like, I don't know. That looks like a guy who'd have 5 bodies in his yard. Methinks he doth protest too much, but it's too early in the episode to think it's him. It's Joe Lewis? Yeah. Well, it's all about the ref, is all I'm saying. Like, the weird angle on this is really strange. And it's a painting. But your gout. He just looks like he's dipping his balls on him. It's just very weird. And then he's got this, like, Native American totem head hat / clog. I don't know, one shoe. And then, like, this Pottery Barn. Like, this is just shit. Like, this is what Russians fashion fill a house with to look like Americans. You know what I mean? Like, the whole thing looks like shit. It just looks like I don't buy it. An offshoot of Hogwarts. Man, Harry's really let himself go to shit. It's just sad. He's a myopic KFC model. He's cosplaying Burl Ives. You might be onto something there because the faux Christianity stuff is something he sells all the time. Yeah. His trophies from the bodies in the basement. And then, of course, a painting he's not yet finished over in the corner on an easel. Like, just fucking... It's so belabored, right? It's such a set. It's like influencer houses. You ever see, like, YouTube influencer houses? We looked at it this morning on one of these things. And you're like, the dude's desk where, like mine, where he does the show, is like a complete fucking... travesty. Here, hold on one second. Let me show you something. My house is fairly well kept. Fairly. Meanwhile, here's my view of the world. Right? Just all that I see the chat when I'm looking over here. That's me looking at you guys. And I got this other shit here and my little hamburger phone and like joke stuff and, like that's what my house really looks like when I'm working, right? But they want to give this illusion that everything's all polished and sweet and stuff everywhere in the house, even though they, like I said, on the other side of the camera, it's all lights and nonsense, just like a real TV studio, And then it's the same thing at his place. This is all bullshit because I guarantee that's a fake fucking wall. Or at least a room they've turned into something and he doesn't live in it at all. It's yet another set. It's all showboating. Anyway, so let's see what the interview goes like.
On the future and practical solutions. I think that's where America is. And
oh, shit, he was still sick when he did this one. So the wraparound, he was just, because he sounded like shit yesterday, so he's just starting to be bad. He's like, this is he must have taped this before, wrapped it around the other thing, and then his voice got worse.
Was my mindset when I visited Mar-a-Lago recently for a sit-down interview with the former and potentially future president.
No. No. And as you watch this interview, but I don't think he's a green screen. I think that's a physical set. I don't think he does green screens. He does it. He pays for this. This is where he makes an excuse for the money. That's how he gets people to invest or whatever the fuck, however they make money over there. It's got to look like a show. So yeah, he didn't use a set. I use a green screen because what my rooms look like is none of your fucking business. I'm not crazy.
Donald Trump.
Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you. And by the way, thanks for leaning just like you do with everyone else. And by the way, is it just me, or does Glenn Beck look like he's about to pounce across that table and make out with him? Also, hold on. Give me a second. Glenn Beck is 6'3". So is, allegedly, Donald Trump. They were exaggerating Trump's height, shrinking his weight, but exaggerating his height. He's genuinely 6'3". Now, granted, Trump is older and perhaps shrinking, but look at the size of his fucking head. Is that weird? Because Glenn Beck, who's odd, is at least sort of proportionate for a guy his size. I mean, he looks like he's sitting on doll furniture in this fucking place. Meanwhile, Trump's head looks fucking tiny. Is Trump shrinking? Are we already at that? Or is he hitting his RBG years? I'm so excited here. Let me look at my cards. I was only able to glance into your eyes for a split second before
granting us this interview. I asked the audience what they wanted me to talk to you about, and overwhelming was, please just first thank him for everything that he's done. And one of them said this, but it was the reflection of all of them. Please tell the president we have not forgotten what he did for us and what he sacrificed for us.
Yes, that was from someone who's currently in solitary confinement in the DC jail.
We really need to hear now, can we get out of this mess? There's the deep state, the GOP, school choice, China and Taiwan.
Oh, it's just the deep state. Yes, that's what we're worried about. How are we gonna? There's so many things.
I had to beat off.
Yes, there's so many. How is he going to go about
de-engineering
the way we're in right now? You know, perhaps we can roll back life.
action replays in magnified fortune.
On Russia and Ukraine, the gas prices, the FBI targeting parents. I'd like to start
Just for being, by the way, the FBI is just targeting parents now. Just parents. Just for being parents. Anybody who's got kids, they're looking into you. They don't trust you? What are you even thinking?
you on the economy and talk to me about how we can turn it around and what does.
Oh boy, yeah, no. I got news for you, Glenn. You're digging a hole, and there's no way for him to climb out of. We did the best thing ever, and we could so do it, and they're destroying our country. Something like that.
Damage. So on the economy, is this just the natural consequence of shutting the world down for a pandemic? Or is this the policies that have been coming out?
So inflation's a big word, and stagflation's even worse if you think of it. And we have lots of both. And
I'm sorry. This is okay. This is going to be so terrible.
a lot of that's caused, in my opinion, by energy. They shut our energy off. They got rid of Anwar. Can you believe that? Yeah. After
We haven't, no one ever dug anything in Anwar. What do you mean they got rid of it? It wasn't like they were pumping oil out of Anwar and then we just closed the fucking spigot. What the fuck are you talking about? That was 5-10 years away for full production, if ever. What do you mean? Jesus.
many, many decades, Ronald Reagan tried to do it. He couldn't. We got it done. And
Neither did you, because you lost the election before it could finish even happening. Fucking hell, you didn't do it either. You could have done it on day one, I suppose. Why the fuck didn't you? Oh, God.
Lisa Murkowski, who's a disaster senator out there, approved somebody. Her vote was the final vote, whose first order was to close up Anwar. That's the biggest drilling site, maybe bigger than Saudi Arabia, in Alaska. And so many other things. But, you know, it all begins with energy, because it's just the trucks, the cars,
What are you nodding about? Yeah. How do we fix it? Drill in Anwar. That'll do it.
the bakeries, the ovens, the stoves, everything, the planes, everything.
The bakeries, the ovens, the cookie factories.
It's such a big number. And when I left, it was $1.87 a gallon for gas.
No one was going anywhere. Now, please say $7.50 a gallon in California. Please say it.
Now in California, it was just announced $7.77.
Fucking hell. We do this. We've done this he does this all the fucking time. I think that answer is in the fucking seat. I think he sits in that chair and he immediately can't not do it. Fact or fiction, California gas station charging $7 per gallon? Sadly, it's true. Sadly, it's true. The only gas station the remote says $7.59. Premium is going for $8.50. The town is known for having some of the highest prices in July 2019, KSBW-TV in Salinas, California says the Americo gas station in the town charged $11.75 for a single gallon of gas. Gas is down in that town, you dumb fuck. Every time. every fucking time. How do you walk into this rig? That same gas station, the one that's charging $7.50 right now, is charged 11 in before COVID. Son of a bitch. Oh God. How do we get out of it? Sorry, Glenn, he was solving your, Glenn, he was so close. All right. Jesus Christ. Fucking hell.
And the rest is all following.
And they're not.
Is it? Yes. Yeah. It's eventually going to be $7.50 everywhere. Largely because most cars will be electric and most of us will have solar panels, charge our cars on battery power we charged up during the day or from the grid at night when it's cheap, and not have to ever stop at a fucking gas station with and no commuter cars. Oh, fucking hell.
What they're doing now is because they believe that we have to be petroleum free.
Which is just crazy.
Insane.
Isn't it? It is. It's just crazy. Why would we want to be petroleum free? Why would we ever give that up? Even if we had the technology, which we do. Why would we ever? Oh, thank you, Betsy. Why would you ever? Why would you?
Yeah.
We are not ready, even in 10 years. Can't we?
That's why it's a net zero phase out over the next 10 years, not an absolute zero. You fucking stooge. None of these assholes understand net zero. Like that, you do compensatory stuff. Commuter cars are going to shift. Long haul trucking and other stuff, it might take longer. But oh, fucking hell. Get out of there, you jerk. Move out of the way. By 2024, 800 mile range battery systems. 800 without stopping. 800 by 2024 available. Nobody is shutting off petroleum right now. We are slowly tourniqueting the unnecessary parts so that the fuel can go towards ships and airplanes and minimize that. It's commuter cars that are the fucking problem. That's why you want to move across from it, because it's assholes sitting in traffic, driving the same 9 miles back and forth every day, puking shit into the air while they sit at a stoplight. The air is better now because we moved to hybrids that shut off at intersections. We eliminate that process entirely, and the air is better. Why the fuck wouldn't you want to get rid of pollution? What? Okay, never mind. Like, this is just dumb. But by the way, this is how you fix stuff. Remember, he's talking about, asked him, how do we fix the economy?
Is there a way to focus and get the entrepreneurs to work on the things for the future while still pumping petroleum? So you.
Yes! What the fuck do you think we're doing? What the fuck do you think net zero is? Are they I always thought he was just fucking around, but are they both that dumb? What are you talking about? Did you realize gas stations still have them? What are you talking about? Are you listening? Nothing is moving. Shelves are empty where you live? Where do you live? Out in the middle of nowhere?
Have both. We're reaching for the future, but we're not killing ourselves at the same time.
Well, that's the whole purpose. That's literally what the Paris Accord is about.
The thing is, the other technology does not have the power to fire up our plants. It just doesn't have the power.
Right.
Wind is extreme.
Hi, dum-dum. Yeah, we're not talking about running houses. We're not talking about running factories off of wind turbines yet, or solar panels even yet. That's the point. We minimize our amount of petroleum we use by only using it for those things. And getting away from vehicles and small expenditures all over the country, which make up fucking 65% of the carbon we put into the fucking air. No one is suggesting that we run foundries on windmills right now. Jesus Christ.
Really expensive. By the way, the turbines are all made in Germany and they're all made in China. Those two places.
Oh yeah, the Germans and the Chinese. Once they team up, we're fucked.
And assuming you're believing in atmospheric filth, which is what they talk about.
What? Hold on. What?
By the way, the turbines are all made in Germany and they're all made in China, those two places. And assuming you're believing in atmospheric filth, which is what they talk about, when they make those turbines.
Is that what we talk about? I can't, what's when is the last time, is that what the kids are all calling it? Hashtag atmospheric filth? Atmospheric filth. This interview is gonna kill me. Oh God, atmospheric filth. Oh God. That's by the way, it's probably a term he's heard around Mar-a-Lago a lot because he leaves a lot of it behind when he's walking around the omelet bar. Atmospheric filth. Oh God. Greatest punk band of the 90s. Atmosphere. CSL, obviously, we've got another one. That's a good one. Atmospheric filth. What the fuck? You mean pollution? Jesus Christ. Who? Okay. Atmospheric filth. If Biden said atmospheric filth, it would be 3 days on Fox and a week on Newsmax. Atmospheric filth. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, God. Take a look at Glenn's position near the table. I think he might be doing some pickups or whatever, but when he's sitting there, he's really sitting there. Atmospheric filth.
No matter how much they saved, if they save anything, the air is very dirty, assuming you believe that. But turbine.
What? Hang out. What? Okay, I was so caught up in atmospheric filth is basically saying no matter how much pollution you take out of the air is still dirty.
In China, those two places. And assuming you're believing in atmospheric filth, which is what they talk about, when they make those turbines, no matter how much they saved, if they save anything, the air is very dirty, assuming you believe that. But turbines.
Excuse me. Okay, so what he's saying is they produce more pollution making them than they would save in carbon neutrality. Is his assertion. One's in China. That's true. The German one's not so much. The idea is that you want to make them in the United States, so they do even less so. Again, he's saying this about wind turbines because he owns golf courses and that one in Scotland, he doesn't like how it fucks up his view to have to see the wind turbines on the sea or whatever, which are all coming down anyways. And then he can't attack solar panels because solar technology has increased like an order of magnitude essentially since 2009 when the Obama administration was, quote, picking winners and losers and decided to invest in solar. And the efficiency of solar has gone up enormously, not because technology itself made a particularly great discovery that was like, oh, fuck, we needed a particular kind of microscope to do this kind of discovery. It was not possible. It would have been possible if we'd have started this whole process in 1978 when Carter wanted to do it. But everybody hamstrung it and stomped the fucking brakes and kept us from getting there because the the oil industry was against it because it can be as efficient as anything else.
Very expensive, doesn't work, and it's very intermittent, and it doesn't have the power to do what you want to do. And by the way, kills all your birds and ruins these magnificent landscapes that are just being decimated.
Oh, God. We've heard this about wind turbines. He fucking hates them. The Scots also have undersea turbines, and they're moving to that system as well. And eventually you won't even fucking see them. And they'll be like breakwaters. It's silly.
By wind. Solar doesn't have the power. And by the way,
it's dirty to make.
It's very tough to make, and it's dirty. And by the way, you have to change them. You have to change those panels at the end of 10 years. Everyone says, oh, great, no. As soon as you start getting your money back, which actually takes 30 years.
Yeah, you don't.
But in 10 years, you have to change the panels. Same thing on the wind. You take a look at those windmills after 10 years, they're beat to hell. And we have...
Well, it's all the birds. It depends on how big the birds in your area are. But again, yes, sunlight is very dirty to make. And by the way, he's going on solar panel technology studies from like 98.
We're sitting on top of liquid gold, and the world doesn't want us to use it. And certainly China doesn't want it to. We have something China doesn't have, and they don't want us to use it, but it's real power.
This isn't an agreement we have with China about this stuff. This is our recognition of the damage of carbon in the atmosphere and mitigating it, joining together with other democracies. China has its own fucking problems. Again, this guy was president for 4 fucking years, and he doesn't know about China's energy and food problems? Has no idea? He has no idea. He never brings it up. I mean, he's one of these assholes who's always saying they're eating our lunch and that they were going to, they're going to overtake us and they're going to overtake us, which they did better when he was president. But just in the last year alone, the projected economic expansion of theirs that was supposed to overtake us in 2024 has been punted to 2030. And I quote, if ever.
You look at China, they're opening up a massive coal plant every week. Or more.
Yeah.
And yeah, what's going on? I mean, he quotes this a lot. We've heard this a bunch of times. Hold on. Massive coal plant. Where are they getting the coal, by the way? China coal. Let's just look at this. Hold on. Huh? When is this? Hold on. Old article, 2017. Hold on. Here you go. Hold on. News. Let me go to the news stories. Australia has was selling coal to China, as you know, and they put a hold on Australian coal because they were having a pissing match about a canceled BRI, Belt Road Initiative project in Australia that the Chinese were planning on making a shit ton of money and putting a lot of spy gear into to keep tabs on the Australian military and the U.S. military that was there, and they canceled it because of the AUKUS agreement that Biden made with the UK and Australia, which Trump could have done, but for some reason didn't do. Odd. And meanwhile, China's 3 biggest coal mines are now flooded, giant swimming pools. God knows when they'll be able to drain them in any way. It will take enormous explosions or the earth just reclaiming the water magically. Nobody seems to know how. They've made accidental man-made lakes out of them. So they've got to import even more coal, and Indonesia is not going to let them. And this was where they were going instead of Australia. Does anybody does any Trump fans actually read about China for real, or they just take his fucking word for it? Really?
It's not like, gee, it's going to stay within the confines. That stuff comes up and it blows over to the United States. So we clean it up, and it costs us a fortune. We can no longer compete with them. That's why I ended the so-called Paris Climate Accord, because it was so one-sided. I know you like that.
Oh, yeah.
It was so
I like that you.
Yeah, no, they hate it. We've read it on the air. You guys went and saw that. And every provision in it is like, as long as it's financially viable and doesn't put you behind the 8 ball financially. Right? Every portion of it allows an out if the country is hurting economically. It's a gentleman's agreement amongst countries. It's not a legally binding document. It's an accord, not a treaty. Like, this is so stupid.
Cancel it, yes.
Well, we were going to spend $1 trillion.
And by the way, he thinks we vacuum shit out of the air and then they pump it back in. And because they're allowed to burn coal and fossil fuels, their factories are working faster than ours, and therefore they're outpacing us because our factories are going to run on wind and theirs are going to run on coal, and that's why they're able to make more stuff, not because they have millions more people and desperate poverty to force them into labor.
Dollars over a short period of time, and it was all against us.
And you know also that
by the way, if you'll recall, this is an answer to a question that Glenn posed about how you can save the economy. And we're in all this trouble, but how do we, inflation is happening. Remember he said inflation and stagflation at the beginning, and then it went off into this bullshit? He basically thinks we're going to burn our way out of it, I guess, if there's any coherent answer at all.
Climate accords, I never understood why they were so passionate about it. It's because that was the beginning of the banking control.
Correct.
Right, where they are now saying...
Yeah, Glenn, okay. Trump's pretending to know what the fuck Glenn is talking about right now. This is one of Glenn's hanging points, the Great Reset, World Economic Forum, all that kind of shit. This is his puppy. Please, 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 media gods, let there be a moment where Trump expounds, he explains to us in totality the real issue here. Don't let Glenn do it for him and tee him up and go, yes, that's always a problem. I've always thought so. Because that's what I'm afraid is going to happen. I want him to explain the banking problem to everyone.
Well, I don't know. If you're a brown company, we may not be able to give you a loan. This is all happening, and it's
That's the ECG, stock rating. So that people, if they want to invest in companies, he's saying that you won't get a loan if you're not green enough, and which is a rating that has to do with investors. So if investors want to invest in green technology or giant pension funds want to invest in earth positive stuff instead of petroleum and big pharma and Raytheon or some shit, they can say they go back to their the members of that particular investment group and say, we're doing this, this, and this is the score we're using, and these are the things inside it, and this is how we know. And it's an investment guide. It doesn't force anything.
Fundamental transformation at a scale I don't think people understand.
Yeah, well, Trump doesn't, but please let him explain to you what you think. Fucking hell. This was just a week ago or so.
When Obama stopped deep sea drilling,
right,
and pulled all of the drilling out, right, the concern was you don't just make a new one. Those are on 20-year, 30-year leases.
Absolutely.
Are we going to be in 3 years in trouble if our banks are putting the small gas, oil, fracking, coal people out, and
the mom and pop frackers,
fundamentally changing the structure for green energy?
Yeah.
Can we recover from that quickly? No,
because the green energy is not strong enough to fire up those plants. And
I'm saying though,
yeah, that's not what he's. All right. You tell you what, you correct him, Glenn.
Quickly, no,
because the green energy is not strong enough to fire up those plants. And
I'm saying though, let's just pretend that you're going to be president in 3 years. Can we turn this around? And
okay, yeah, let's pretend for a moment. I can't do it. I can't even pretend. Can't even pretend. Hey, by the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. I live stream every day, 3 p.m. weekdays, 4 o'clock on Thursdays because it's Family FaceTime Day, and I'm not going to move that for a live stream. It's just families first, right? That's how we do it. And then, of course, tomorrow is my radio show, 9 to 11 on Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT in Chicago, and I also live stream here, infotainmentwars.com. You can subscribe on YouTube if you're watching this later. Just hit subscribe and like and stuff. Thank you for reminding me to reset.
Get on track.
Quickly. We can. Yeah, we can.
Yeah,
I mean, we have to.
yeah. I mean, they're destroying the whole country, and China's gonna overtake us, and it's awful and destruction, and any day now. And it only took them 9 months to totally destroy the country, and it's never been this bad. But we could turn it around in a couple of weeks.
Optimism, and this is more than optimism. This is fact. We were energy independent 11 months ago. Totally energy.
All right.
And now we're going to OPEC to beg them for oil.
I know.
We're going to OPEC, Saudi Arabia, Russia. We're going to Russia. We're making Russia so rich. You know, when I ended the pipeline in Russia, everyone said, oh, I'm
If you ended it, how is it still being built?
nice to Russia. I got along great with Putin and with President Xi and with all of them, but there was never anybody tough like I was on that. And with the tariffs on China, we took in billions and billions of dollars.
They never gave us 10 cents.
Frankly, brought a lot of businesses back home because it no longer made sense for them to do things in China. But
no, COVID did that, fucko. That was all part of the play. I'll let COVID run rampant because that'll be the one thing. I'm playing next level chess. It's going to cost us, 950,000 American lives, but long term, it's worth the investment.
when they did the pipeline, and look at Russia, their primary thing is oil and the cost. What we're doing is we're making them rich. When you see the kind of money that people are paying to OPEC, which includes Russia and Saudi Arabia, these people have never made this kind of money. This all happened over a short period of time.
Oh, you mean when they were during the beginning of COVID, when oil fell through the floor and it was negative $36 a barrel, they were paying you $36 to take a barrel of oil off their hands. And did Trump fill the national reserves then? No. He waited till the cost was well over $25 a barrel. It was already going back up. He didn't want to hurt his buddies. He didn't want to buy it when it was free or force them to pay us to take it. They're taking in so much money. I mean, percentage-wise from when they didn't? Jesus.
Become energy independent quickly.
Again.
Energy will, again,
Yeah.
we were, for the first time ever.
I have to tell you, when I first heard that, I didn't think that was going to happen in my lifetime.
Yeah.
We have talked about that forever.
Well, part of the reason why people don't believe it's going to happen in our lifetime and why it is happening ultimately is because we are moving away from fuel, gasoline, being a primary source for commuter cars. From remember when the first hybrid that you can imagine came online? What was it? Maybe 2003 when they really started to pick up. By 2012, 2013, tons of hybrids. The amount of gas that you're using with enough human beings using those kind of cars in this country, and there's an enormous number of them. Just the hybrids. The amount of gas they use goes down enough to significantly take off the amount of money or gas we would have to get from overseas. That in and of itself.
No one in the press talked about the fact that we were energy independent. I remember the first time I heard that we were energy independent.
That's right.
I heard it from you.
Right.
It's astounding. And in a month, we're back on.
Well, they just
Not in a month, no. After not doing anything, gas sitting there, and again, our oil companies don't just sell to the United States. We're not Venezuela, fucko. I don't know why you commies want this. I'm talking to you, Glenn and Trump and maggots. Why do you want us to turn into Venezuela? Why Why do you even believe there's such a thing as nationalized oil? Well, I mean, you're the same people who think the Keystone Pipeline is American oil anyway, so whatever the fuck that means. It's Canadian. It's so they can get their gas to market, so we can buy it. We don't get to the front of the fucking line. The price went up, and worldwide, the use went up. Our economy has been so successful at getting back on its feet that we're needing more fuel than we normally use.
Everything off. I got it going. So we were bigger than Russia, bigger than...
Yeah, you got it going. Remember May 2020, how going we were? What about June?
Saudi Arabia. In 1 year, we would have been bigger than both combined. Think of that. We were making a fortune, and it was great for jobs, great for everything.
Oh, somebody's saying we get batteries from China. No, the Tennessee just got its first. Let's see. Hold on. We'll look it up for these folks who somehow think that Americans aren't capable of manufacturing anything. But hey, if you guys, let's see. Here you go. If you guys want to keep sending gas to oil, oil-producing countries, or screwing up your beaches and your fisheries with oil spills, instead of driving American cars with batteries made in fucking Tennessee, explain yourself. Hey, by the way, maybe you've heard all this shit about lithium all coming from China. And we're going to be, even if we do make the batteries here, we're going to have, let's see, hold on. We're going to have, even if we want to make those batteries here, we're going to have to get the lithium from China, right? They own the land in Africa. They've got dibs on the African lithium. There was lithium in Afghanistan, which was part of the reason why we're there. What the fuck are we going to do? Oh no. We're not only sure we can make the batteries in Tennessee with American workers, fuck them. But where are we going to get the lithium? The Salton Sea, ladies and gentlemen. The Salton Sea. One of the biggest lithium deposits. It's the biggest one in North America and in the Americas. The lake is toxic just because it shrunk so much. There's so much fucking salt. Nothing can live in it. I guess you could float in it. It's almost a hot springs, but there's so much other crap in it that you naturally, by the way, that you can't do anything. There is enough lithium in this area for 40 million Teslas. And you're not going to ruin a fish hatchery. Nobody lives out there. They used to a long time ago. It used to be it was vying to be the the next Palm Springs. Not so much. But hey, if the Trumpers and the maggots want to keep relying on OPEC and Russia, or drilling holes in the ground that poisons our aquifers, or letting Canadian shale oil run through the Great Lakes, I mean, explain yourselves. Yeah, it's been drying up for a long time. It's a runoff. It's not a naturally occurring. It's not naturally fed by a river or anything. It only was caused by an extraordinary storm a long time ago. Essentially a flood created it, but it's got there's no river that runs to it that constantly repipes it with water on the way to the ocean. So that's why it's shrinking. Do you hear me now? We can make all this stuff in the United States. There might have been a period where it was not financially viable. It fucking well is now.
It was also great for people that drive a car.
Right.
Because they never had it so good. And now, all of a sudden...
Yes. No. Remember how good we had it driving a car, especially during lockdown?
He just stopped the supply. I mean, you look at what they did. They stopped it. They closed down rigs. They stopped the leasing.
Oh, did they? Sorry, did we close down rigs? They paused oil leases so they could review them because they didn't fucking trust you because you signed a bunch of them on your way out the door. They had to run an ethics test on them to make sure you weren't fucking padding your own pockets. Most of them continued unabated.
Government lands.
Dude can't even drive a
Do
car.
you think there's any way possible?
Is there any way possible that I could turn this into the new way to sit? Seriously, is there any way we could play like we could Greco-Roman wrestle right now? Is there any way that I could just hug you? I promise I'm only partially chubbing. What is that? What is he doing? What is he getting ready to do? If I was Secret Service, I would have my hand on my hip. He's sumo. Yeah, he's about to go. Boom. Boom. What the fuck?
That these things that are happening are just miscalculations. This seems so well planned out to destroy us.
It's so many things.
So many.
And it's all self-inflicted.
Right.
And then you start to say, it must be on purpose. Millions of people allowed to come into our country. Prisons being emptied from many countries. You know, it used to be 3 or 4, I'd say, but it's 100. They had 100.
Well, now, nobody was listening to you. So what you do is you keep exaggerating until people panic. That's how you normally work. It's still not working. Hundreds of prisons have been dumped into the United States. They're releasing them. We're not even stopping them. According to Trump, if you're a criminal from another country, if you're Edmundo Kempore and you've just broken free as the Coero killer from Guatemala, they'll let you out of jail as long as you promise to walk all the way through Guatemala and Mexico and not do any of your criming until you get to the United States. Promise? Absolutely. They're emptying their prisons into the United States. And we don't care, obviously. Now, granted, we keep turning people back and they end up in Juarez or in, northern Mexico and either get involved in criminality there and end up, doing themselves in or being done in. Yeah, meanwhile, this asshole releases 5,000 Taliban. Like, they weren't going to do anything to us. How do you know? Well, I let their dudes out. Why would they?
21 countries now. Prisons where people are being dumped into our country.
We have 12. I think it was 12. It came out 12 cities that are at their peak, breaking records for homicides, all run by Democrats.
Yeah, but those are citizens. None of those cities, in none of those circumstances, is there any even remote accusation that these are foreign nationals. Seriously. If there's any kind of epidemic of violence, it's young men in the States.
Breaking points. And many of those people that are causing the crime are coming through our southern border. We had this.
Are they? How about floating some kind of a statistic? I mean, Glenn could do this. Glenn does a show every day. Glenn, whip it out, man. Back him up.
Longest border in history. Now we have the weakest border in history. And
I blame the wall. It was weird. Somehow we didn't have a wall anywhere, and it worked. Now somehow we put that wall up. It's like it gave them something to shoot for.
Includes drugs. We brought drugs down 61%, and it was going to get better. Wow. And now.
Well, says who? It was down 61% in crossing because you weren't catching them. And secondly, everything was down 61% during COVID, during the initial lockdown especially. No one was going fucking anywhere.
I hear it's 5-6 times more than it was at its worst. It's just coming through unimpeded.
One of the first things that...
No, they're catching 5 times as much stuff. It's not coming through unimpeded. If it's coming through unimpeded, the amount of it available on the street would be 5 times. And it fucking well isn't.
Biden did was to stop the Keystone pipeline, and then
Yeah, Canadian shale oil. Not our oil. The Keystone is not our oil. By the way, talk about the line. Was it the Line 5 pipeline too? We're going to talk about that one? Hold on. Line 5 pipeline. I think that's the one, right? Yeah. Enbridge's Line 5. This is this is their page. That's not going to tell the truth about it. Line 5 pipeline. This is the other one. So if you're going to hold on. I don't want to even go to a lefty site on this. I want to go, let's see. Nah, that's the League of Conservation Voters. I don't even go there. Just regular news. The White House is responded to this thing. They were going to shut down the Line 5 pipeline, and they're doing an environmental impact study on it right now. And the reason they're doing an environmental impact study is because it dumped millions of gallons of oil into the rivers in Michigan. And it goes under Lake Huron, I believe. Where is it? Oh, no dispute. State of Michigan, U.S. government, right near the Mackinac Islands. Where we go? Line up 54. There's we go. Between, by the way, this is where it fucking goes. This is the same thing with the look where this pipeline goes from and to. Where does it start and where does it end? This goes into the United States, under our lakes, across the land. Where does it? Is that American oil? Is it? Do we get first dibs at that oil? Or do they just run it through our area of the lake and across our land, because if it bursts open, it doesn't fuck up their water and their land? I don't know who the fuck thought that was a good idea. Right? Where in the world? And Keystone was the same shit. Run it over your own goddamn ground. It's your oil. You're selling it when it goes to market. We don't get dibs on that oil. Yeah, and it's already leaked multiple times. But, America first, right, guys? America first. Keystone is a Canadian company. It's Canadian shale oil. Why the fuck does this, and I love you guys in Canada, but this is bullshit.
You can build your pipeline. Yeah. That's something that Reagan, forever we've been saying, don't do that. Yeah. Poland begged him. Ukraine begged him, don't do that. I stopped it. You had stopped it.
It was done.
Correct.
No, it wasn't. You can't stop it. Honestly, unless we're going to supply Germany with natural gas, we don't have the right to stop a pipeline in 3 other countries. What the fuck are you talking about? We have certain limitations we can put on them. Like, I don't know. Let's see. Biden, Nord Stream to insurers. So what you do is, the pipeline's going to be built, all their eggs in one basket. You sanction the insurers, and if anything happens to that pipeline, they're fucked. It's just done. And now Germany especially, and Eastern Europe, have every reason to negotiate with Russia to keep them in line and not be fucking assholes. And Russia at the same time has reason not to fuck around and find out what happens when somebody walks over to that pipeline in the middle of nowhere, and goes, eh. We're not going to be sinking Russian boats full of gas. We're not going to be blowing up trucks, but we sure as shit can hit a pipeline if we need to push back on them. I mean, do these assholes have any strategic brains at all?
Who would have done that? People would have said, see there, he's in bed.
He's friends with Putin.
Friends
He
with
loves Putin. You know, it's like crazy.
I watched this.
Yeah, that's what he is. He's friends with Putin, and Putin loves him. That's why Putin's having 3 fucking phone calls with the State Department. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, let's see. Russia, I'm surprised he hasn't said, I'm surprised he hasn't said that Russia, let's see go. You know, Putin's like, now that we're out of Afghanistan, it's just a playground for Russia now. He's just having all kinds of fun. He's having to send soldiers that would have been happier dicking around on the border of Ukraine down to Kazakhstan to get shot at for fucking real. Yuckshemesh. All right. That's still nothing. All right.
Being taped in, November or December, and it would be airing in January. But I think it was this week, I watched Putin look at Joe Biden. I didn't see respect or fear from him, a fear of the United States.
Sorry? What do you mean? On video? What do you mean, look at him? I'm sorry. Did you ever see respect or fear from Vladimir Putin towards Trump? Are you kidding me? I mean, everybody sort of respects their dog a little, I suppose.
States or respect for the United States.
True.
You know Putin. You know how he thinks. You know how to deal with him.
Yeah, tell us you know how to deal with him. Yeah, let him have whatever he wants. Anytime the Senate passes sanctions against him, hold those sanctions until the last legal minute you can.
Is he going to move into Ukraine, do you think?
Well, it's looking like that. When Biden told him about, he was talking about sanctions. When Biden says sanctions, Putin's saying, sanctions, if they're only going to sanction, then there's no sanction that's going to stop me from taking over a country. And by the way, it's a massive piece of land in an unbelievable location.
Right.
You know that.
Right. And I know real estate. Yeah, there is sanctions. Like the entire Russian government not being able to participate in international banking at all. The kind of sanctions that cause breadlines. Ask Iran. Iran fucks around in other countries, but they sure as shit haven't invaded one. I mean, there's some sweet real estate on some of their borders, I suppose, compared to what they have, but they haven't done it yet.
But he didn't say there could be very serious consequence. A sanction is not a serious consequence, no matter how strong it is. Not when it comes to taking over a country.
Correct.
Well, we're not just sanctioning them. We're giving them lethal weapons. We're just trying not to ratchet shit up. They know it's serious.
And there was no fear. Look, with China, you didn't have planes flying over Taiwan, and I told President Xi.
There were no planes flying over Taiwan. Planes have not flown over Taiwan. They entered the northeast edge or northwest edge of their aerial zone. They crossed a corner of the airspace. They didn't fly over the fucking country at all. Like, not at all. They have not. They do not. They are not. Meanwhile, with us, the Japanese, the Australians, we're all doing laps around that fucking island, and we have U.S. soldiers in Taiwan training Taiwanese soldiers right now. They're doing drills. We didn't leave.
Can't do that. You can't do that. We had a lot of great conversations right here at Mar-a-Lago when he was here. We talked for hours and hours. We got to know each other very well.
Yeah. Yeah, you did so well that he told you, nah, COVID, we got it covered. We're fine. You trusted him. He was a professional, right? You talk to him all the time. He said, I'm handling it, and he's handling it very professionally. And there's like a couple of cases, and it's going to go away. It's no big deal. Never mind the fact that they knew it was incredibly deadly as possibly as early as November, if not earlier. I was there in China. When shit started coming. I came back from China, and I was telling people that there's a nasty disease going around over there that if it gets over here, watch out for yourself. People will remember the 2019 Christmas show, the Saturday that I was on the air on my radio show after I'd been in China and come back. And it was already circulating through the country. I was telling, if I fucking knew, she certainly knew, and this motherfucker should have known. Nope.
I said, you can't do Taiwan. And now all of a sudden, as soon as I leave,
you can't do Taiwan. Is that what you said? You can't do Taiwan.
Start flying over many bombers.
Tell me what.
First of all, no, Glenn. Person who's actually 6'3", talking to person who's not actually 6'3". You can't just let that roll by. Many bombers did not fly over Taiwan. Period. End of story. Fighters transgressed the airspace on the northwest corner of the extremity of their airspace. They didn't fly over the fucking country. Yeah, I'm Patience Hero.
Happens to us. I mean, they always accused you of trying to dismantle NATO.
Yeah.
NATO is falling apart and will mean nothing if we don't help Ukraine, and neither will any of our treaties.
Oh, sorry. Okay, good. So Glenn's strategic mind is saying that we do need NATO expansion into Ukraine, and that Ukraine should be part of NATO, and that we should have NATO forces and the United States forces in there protecting Ukraine. That seems to be the position Glenn is staking out. Obviously, Tucker Carlson would like a word.
If they move into Taiwan and we do nothing, what does the world look like with Russia in Ukraine and China in Taiwan?
Well, if that
happens, let me paint a picture of bullshit for you.
happens, but with NATO is very interesting. I had my first meeting, 28 countries, including us.
Oh my God, I made them pay more money and they were leaving money behind and they're more than 2%. And this was all after, it was all ratcheting up since 2008 and they got goosed and who cares?
And I looked at the charts and I said, wait a minute, these people aren't paying. They're delinquent, okay? You know the word, a real estate term, they're delinquent. They're not paying.
Yeah, it is. It's a real estate term. Like when he was a juvenile, it came up a lot.
And I said at the first meeting, you're not paying. And then I had a second meeting a number of months later. I said, you have to pay. And somebody said, does that mean you won't protect us from Russia if we don't pay? I said, that's right. You have to pay. And you know what happened? $400 billion came in. $400 billion.
Right. Yeah, you threatened your friends with destruction from Russia. And by the way, if Putin's mad about NATO expansion, it's because Trump forced them into investing. He tried to draw down what we did, but he doesn't hold the purse strings. He wanted to cut back what we give, but he can't. So he was, yeah.
Why would we protect you if we're not here to protect Europe? And by the way, you take advantage of us on trade. That was the other.
Well, the theory is that if Russia takes over Europe, we're kind of fucked. We're next. But America first, right?
I was doing. They're almost as bad as China on trade, and nobody understands it. Nobody knows it. What they've done with so many different companies. As an example, we can sell basically almost no farm product in. And I said to Angela Merkel, how many Chevrolets do you have in the middle of Berlin? She said, why none? I said, that's right. And we have millions of Mercedes-Benz and all of BMW, all of these car companies are floating it in. I said, all of that's changing. Then we got hit with COVID.
Hold on one second. Let's try to do this. It'll probably be under news, something like that. Sorry. Stats. Maybe something like that. Oh, maybe that's a good one. Hold on one second. It's hard to get like the actual current stats. Hold on one second. Tesla's new car sales in Germany grew 234% as the wider German market plunged 32%, according to data from KBA. Tesla posts big sales rise in German market as the rest of the market plunges 32%. Tesla's an American company. Oh, yes. Welcome to Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide, where the facts come fast and furious. See, I did a car reference. Look at that. Like and subscribe. Give a thumbs up. Support the show. Super chats. You can subscribe if you use Amazon Prime. You can subscribe on Twitch. It doesn't cost you a dime. Twitch.tv/Hal Sparks. Welcome. Hi. Thank you. Thanks for reminding me, guys. You guys are awesome. Might actually this might become a habit if we do it long enough. Thank you. Now, by the way, if you'll recall, Tesla is that company. Some of you might not be familiar with it, named after Nikola Tesla, but no relation. Tesla is that company that wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the insistence of the Obama administration putting electric car support in the 2009 rescue package. Remember that? Remember picking winners and losers again? Tesla, there is no Tesla. There's no SpaceX. There's none of that shit without that bailout. None whatsoever. Tesla is a 100% American company, and it was taxpayer backed at its weakest point. And they're killing it in the German car market. But he doesn't consider electric cars American. That's the problem.
Rebuilt it again. We rebuilt it a second time.
Okay, so now what's supposed to kill the virus, not the economy? They're coming back. Hold on, they're gonna be ads, something like that. They're gonna sell some shit. Oh, it's the same advertisers Rudy Giuliani has. What a shock.
Lock.com.